Today is Dahlia Day. Yesterday I harvested the last of the flowers. Those are some gorgeous examples that I had growing this year. Purple Gem, this beautiful deep purple one. Kevin Floodlight, a beautiful dinner plate. This is a small example, but the blooms got completely huge. And then Ailey Jane, another cactus type. We had a glorious show from July all the way to mid-November. I'm so pleased with the crop this year. So it's time to save it to, of course, replant it next year. Now, of course, we're at the end of the season, so I just mentioned I cleaned up my dahlia beds and my containers to get ready for spring bulbs. I like labeling when there are still some flowers on the plant, so that way I can properly identify it. And also, it helps me plan my color scheme. I'm just reusing old labels for that. We had a very light frost, so the foliage is not completely brown, but it's still time to cut it down and make room for spring bulbs. That looks super empty, so I just cut down my rose. Also, I want to move it closer to the middle of the border because right now it's too close to the fence. Still have some dahlias cuttings to pack up to bring to the allotment, so I'm just going to lift the remainder tubers. Once the tubers are out of the ground, I like to leave them to dry out in a frost-free place just for a few days so that it's a bit easier to clean them up after. And the process, of course, is exactly the same in containers: lift and store. And then what I did is just leave them for a couple of days in this type of really aerated crate just so that they would dry out a little bit. And now on to the next stage, which is knock off a little bit more soil as much as I can. For the cleanup part, I'm just using a soft brush. Okay, and I'm carefully trying to remove as much soil as possible. I think this is pretty good, and this is of course to reduce the risk of rot into storage. Here is the step where I check for any damage and remove anything that has been damaged while lifting, or for example, look, this is a really good example. Here we can see there's a slight tuber and this is going to rot, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Here also, it's a bit more subtle, but you can see here, that point here is damaged, so no point in keeping it. So those are tubers, those potato looking thing, they're attached to the main part of the plant with the neck. And next year, once the plant is ready to grow again, we'll see eyes, so growth points. This is the old stalk from this year's growth, and it will form new ones where new flowers will form. At this stage, when you're preparing for storage, moisture is your enemy, but too dry conditions are also, because you don't want those tubers to desiccate, but you don't want them to rot either. Then the next step is the packing. Once your tubers are dry and clean, you can pack them on. So I'm using this really nice shredded paper. Some people use vermiculite or just regular newspaper. I like this shredded one because it can nestle really well around the tubers, and it's kind of easy to come by if you have an office space that shreds. So I'm just going to put a layer of that at the bottom. And then all you have to do is take your tuber and carefully place it in. Ideally, when you lay them like this, you don't want them to touch. Then we'll just add some more paper on top and around. You see, I'm pretty happy. They all have a label, so hopefully next year that will still be there. I think I can fit a few more tubers in the corners. The advantage of using a medium that's lightweight like paper is that it's cheap to come by, but also the box will still be pretty easy to lift and to store. I'll probably check on them once in a while to see if everything is going well, if I have rot issues or if they're too dry, and assess what to do then. But otherwise, the cycle can start again. Next spring, I'll put them on and wait for a crop. Actually, I'll probably divide them, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a learning process for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I have so much mess to clean up, and it's starting to rain. Why does it always rain when I film? It's crazy. Anyway, let me save those dahlias.